We're going to go up to Canada for this one. This is CBC News, not CBD News, but CBC. My article today, woman who accidentally gave out cannabis edibles to Winnipeg trick-or-treaters sentenced to $5,000 in fines. Tammy Sigurdor pleaded guilty to handing out THC-laced candy to kids in 2022. A woman who accidentally put cannabis candies in bags to hand out on Halloween after running out of loot for trick-or-treaters in 2022 broke down crying in a Winnipeg courtroom on Monday as a judge asked her to imagine what might have happened if a young child had eaten the drug-laced candy she gave them. Tammy Sigurdor was sentenced to pay a total of $5,000 in fines as part of a joint recommendation accepted by the judge for her role in handing out cannabis edibles, which court heard were not Sigurdor's and are made to look nearly identical to regular Nerds brand candy and can't be bought legally in Canada. The edibles ended up in trick-or-treat bags after Sigurdor ran out of candy that night, then rushed to the closet in her house, which contained regular candy and cannabis edibles, looking for extras to give out. Court heard. Without her glasses on, Sigurdor filled plastic zipped sandwich bags with various candy and gum she found in the closet, not realizing about a dozen of the bags had edibles in them before she gave them out to her husband to hand out at the front door. Court heard the edibles had been bought for Sigurdor's husband, who didn't notice they were in the sandwich bags before giving them out. The mistake didn't come to light until a parent discovered one of the edibles in their child's candy stash and contacted police, Crown Attorney Terry McComb said. I'm pretty sure you've thought about this innumerable, if not thousands of times. What would have happened had this parent not seen that label? Provincial Court Judge Raymond Wyatt said to Sigurdor in court on Monday. And the thought that some child could have ingested this THC, some very young child, and that it could have caused lasting injuries or death is almost too frightening to contemplate. Yes, Sigurdor replied through sobs, it is. Women pleaded guilty last year. Police said at the time of the incident, they got more than a dozen reports of cannabis candies being handed out to trick-or-treaters in Winnipeg's South Tuxedo neighborhood on October 31st, 2022. The officers later searched a home on Coleraine Crescent. In connection with the reports, packaging suggested the edibles had 600 milligrams of the psychoactive property in cannabis known as THC. In Canada, edibles are legally only allowed to contain 10 milligrams per package. Children who received the edibles were 6 to 16 years old. None were harmed by the candies. Court heard Sigurdor's error came to her attention after people started posting about the cannabis edibles found in children's Halloween candy on a community social media page, and she recognized the zipped sandwich bags. Shortly after, her and her husband went to police and gave detailed, lengthy statements about what happened. Sigurdor pled guilty in September to possessing cannabis that's not packed, labeled, and stamped, and supplying the drug to a young person, offenses under the Liquor, Gaming, and Cannabis Control Act, after being arrested along with her husband shortly after Halloween in 2022. Charges against Sheldon Chikhanov were stayed in November. I'm assuming that's her husband's name. I should have been more careful. Sigurdor's voice shook as she read a statement through tears in court on Monday, telling the judge how grateful she felt that no children were harmed because of her mistake. I don't expect forgiveness, and I'm not going to make excuses for what happened. I should have been more careful. I should have worn my glasses. I shouldn't have been rushing around trying to find candy, said Sigurdor, as her son sat behind her in the galley, at times holding back tears of his own. I also apologize if I have in any way caused distress to any children about Halloween and their safety and enjoyment of the holiday. It truly was an accident. And at no time did I have any desire to harm anybody, especially children. No parent should have to worry about their child receiving such a dangerous substance in their Halloween bag, and that was never my intention. Defense lawyer Saul Simons, better call Saul, said his client's mental health was seriously affected by the incident and that she has tortured herself from the moment this occurred at the thought that she could have even accidentally put any child at risk. Judge Wyatt said he accepted the incident and its fallout had a traumatic effect on Sigurdor, but still said he wanted to underscore the risk of potentially letting cannabis edibles fall into the wrong hands. If anything good comes of this hearing and the publicity that surrounds it, maybe that's it. An increased public awareness of the danger of these articles in the wrong hands, and that inadvertently they can get into the wrong hands in ways that sometimes we can never contemplate, but ultimately are responsible for, Wyatt said. Okay. What do y'all think?
Bummer.
Man, I love this story. This is so classic. This is like the Karen's gone bad all of a sudden when being a Karen goes wrong.
I mean, look, there's
made a mistake.
Karen, though. She's torturing herself and taking responsibility and honestly torturing herself way too much. Like, listen, I have a 10-month-old. I would be horrified if this happened and like there would be many chats, but like shit also happens and I don't know, free Tammy at this point. Like, Jesus Christ, give the lady a break. Also, listen, again, I have a 10-month-old and I am not trying to minimize this at all. I really am not. The kids are not going to die if they eat the edibles. They're not going to die. They're not going to die. They're not going to die. And also, one more point and then I'm done. Do you know how many DMs I get from parents whose children get into their own edibles, including infants? People I went to high school with who are like, hey, Jackie, I haven't talked to you in 20 years, but I know you're into weed, and what do I do? And I'm like, you'll be fine. Just watch them, blah, 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 hydration, blah, 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 blah. But also call your doctor. I'm not a doctor. But parents do it to their own kids, so like free Tammy.
Oh, poor Tammy.
It's interesting to me because first of all, I don't understand hiding any candy in the closet because it's an edible. I mean, it's like it's food. So like we have a cabinet, not a closet. So that's a little weird for me. Hey, honey, can you hand me the candy for Halloween? Yeah, it's by the socks in the closet. It's just a little odd for me.
To be clear.
The second thing is like around here, we've always known it was a little ghetto if you buy the big bag and you break it down into Ziploc baggies. Like that's a trapping mentality. But when it comes to candy and Halloween, like ain't nobody looking for the big bag of mints and then you're going to hand out one piece of chocolate and put it in your own little like sub bag. So that's just an interesting mindset for Halloween in general. Then the next thing that's interesting to me is none of the kids actually had a harm or ate it, but the other parents recognized it as trap product. So here you have this trap product in Canada that clearly wasn't acquired in a dispensary and that her husband was acquiring. And the other parents noticed that it was a trap brand. So those other parents are clearly probably buying from the same plug.
Can I tell you what this really is? Can I tell you what this really is? This is basically a real drug deal gone bad, Yarrow. Okay, because this is what happened. Okay, so the mom doesn't want to get outed that it's Halloween and she needs to re-up on her edibles. So she takes her kid trick-or-treating over to the house where she buys her drugs at and gives the other mom the winky wink, to which they go and grab the special bag, drop the bag of candy into the kid's bag because parents check all the kids' candy, so then that way she can intercept the bag before the kids get it. Okay, and this is 100% a drug deal gone bad. This lady, yeah,
agree.
This is
agree.
This is the trailer park boys shit.
Yeah, this is what actually happened, Yarrow.
Rural Canada is like it tracks, like you know.
This cow is as dead as Canada.
Blame Canada.
Yep. But fortunately for her, that it was she was fined in Canadian dollars because they're not as much in value as U.S. dollars.
That's the only country that the American dollar still has an advantage over, probably.
No, there's a lot of them.
Everywhere else,
there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
No, I don't know about that anymore.
There's tons of them. tons.
I'm being facetious, but
I mean, it sounds like she needs to ship her extra edibles to Spain because with all the ridiculous enforcement action over there, the people of Barcelona need some Skittles too.
You can export from Canada. This lady needs to be like get into the entrepreneurial spirit there, Tammy.
Tammy.
Already did. I guess.
Tam.
Right?
Yeah, that's not super entrepreneurial. That's more like a lemonade stand gone bad.
Right. She dipped her toes and she's like, I just
want to know what the total Tam market is for her. Like
Tam.
Tammy.
Tam coin.
Karen's little sister, Tammy.